types of education, of course, and one of the things that it's been gratifying to see in recent years is that the focus has moved from, although there are still problems, a unique focus on women's rights as human rights to the economic empowerment of women. Because in the end, until that takes place, the rest of it will be fragile. And this is something that speaks not only to women's concerns or desires or aspirations, we're really talking about the whole, because women constitute half of the population. If they are cut out of the economy, then the overall capacity is reduced. So, as Secretary of State Hillary Clinton often says, women's rights and support for women's rights are not only the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do, to focus on. So, I can give you some examples from around the world. In Bangladesh, there were thousands of women who went to the garment industry and completely transformed the sector, making it one of the top earning export sectors of the economy. So we're not just talking about women leaders, we're talking about women at all walks of life who make a difference. In Nicaragua, there was a coconut vendor who was on the beach selling coconuts. She heard about an opportunity to get some training. She took advantage of the opportunity. She learned of another opportunity to get some formal education, took advantage of that, and today she's the principal of a high school in her community. So these examples, I'm sure there are many, many here in Guyana, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about those specific examples. Just go to show that women contribute. They contribute to themselves, they contribute to their children, they contribute to their families, and they contribute to the economy. And what that means is addressing the issues and addressing rights will lead to better prosperity for all. So I look forward to working with the Commission. Congratulations on this, your very first public event. And we are here to support you, and I wish you well for the rest of today, this session, and a very happy International Women's Day.
Commissioners, my name is Diana Marr. I'm from the Trade Union Movement. Good morning, my name is Julia Burton, representing the Trade Union Movement and the Trade Union Congress.
Good morning, I'm Carol Wanslight from Corbin, representing the Women's Advisory Committee of the Guyana Trade Union Congress.
Good morning, my name is Ernestine Bartolome, and I represent the Regional Religious Trade Committee from Region 10, and represent Region 10, 4, and 3.
Good morning, my name is Nicole Cole, and I represent Cultural Ethnic, the Guyana Rastafari Council, as well as many other organizations, more significantly, the Universal Peace Federation.
Morning, everybody. Pleasure being here. And I must say congratulations to all women in Guyana, also the entire world, on this international rescue. My name is Peter Prasad, and I represent Cultural Ethnic, specifically in relation to African culture. Thank you very much.
I am Sharon Sampson from the National Congress of Women, elected Deputy Chairperson of the National Commission.
Judge Chandler, elected Chairperson for the Women's Progressive Organization. Thank you.
Pamela Rancic, elected by the Women's Groups of Ghana to serve on the Commission.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nandrani Punja, better known as Juliet, Region number 2, Regional Women's Affairs, and I represent Region number 2, 5, and 6.
Good morning. I am Juan Echo. I represent the Ethnic Relations Division.
Good morning, everyone, and happy International Women's Day to each and every one of the women in this room and outside of the room, across Guyana and across the world. I am Hamadi Dagan, popularly known as Kim. I am from the Women's Affairs Bureau, Ministry of Labor, Human Services, and Social Security.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Renata Chakasa. I represent the private sector on this commission, and happy Women's Day to everyone.
I am Madam Paula, who has been appointed onto the National Women and Gender Equality Department, and I must say that I'm very, very pleased and very, very happy to be among you here today. And I trust that we will all be working together to make sure that the work on the Commission achieves its goals as we can.
Some themes for women's equality and gender justice has been a world free of violence. It's our right, and we continue to press for this in Guyana. The theme for this year's International Women's Day is ending impunity for violence against women. That is the international theme. And currently, the world over, 1 out of every 3 or 1 out of every 4 women worldwide have experienced some form of violence in their lives. So it's not a good statistic. And whereas we celebrate and we honor the long, hard road that women have traveled over the ages and over the centuries to where we are today in the 21st century, there is a heap of work left. The gap is there. It has not closed that considerably. And so while we are pleased that we have the Men's Bureau set up, especially as our Prime Minister said, to try to grapple with this phenomenon of violence and male violence against women, I think it's an excellent thing if it can really find one of the keys to help us turn this around in Guyana. Women have a long way yet to go, and the statistics bear this out. The 1 in 3, the 1 in 4, every day of their lives experience violence. And despite the progress, this is from Michelle Bachelet, the Executive Director of UN Women, despite this progress over the last century, the hopes of equality expressed on that first International Women's Day are a long way from being realized. Almost 2 out of 3 illiterate adults the world over are women. Girls are still less likely the world over to be in school than boys. Every 90 seconds of every day, a woman dies in pregnancy or due to childbirth-related complications, despite us having the knowledge and resources to make birth safe. And we know that that pertains in particular to Guyana, if you have been keeping abreast of the sad facts of mortality of women in childbirth, and we have to address that. Across the world, women continue to earn less than men for the very same work. In many countries, too, they have unequal access to land and inheritance rights. And despite high-profile advances, women still make up only 19% of legislators, of legislation, parliaments and equivalents all over the world. 8% of women only the world over are peace negotiators, although women are known for making peace. And only 28 women the world over are heads of state or government. Some progress a long, long way yet to meet that mark of equality. In our own parliament, many of us in this room here struggle, and we're still struggling towards 50-50. That is equality. What we have now is something like 30, I think it's dropped. 30% of the parliament are women. And in this coming election year, we call upon all the politicians, big ones and small ones, all the current MPs here, to take forward in a bipartisan way that fight to make sure that all the lists, and some of you in this room here, some of the young ladies, take a step up, work in the political arena, and make Guyana a better place. Especially hoped for by me personally and by my colleagues, Magna and others, is that we will finally, in 2012, have within the Parliament a women's caucus that is across party. And I know that Cheryl and Indra and many others, I see one of our stalwarts here, Philomena Samoy-Shuri, been in Parliament was since she was a girl, or in the fight since then. But we still have a far way to go, and we need to have the conversations going on, especially between and among the politicians, those who seek power, whether it's in the opposition, in the ruling party, in the smaller oppositions. And what we are looking forward to, those of us who are not in foreign politics, is a greater role for civil society and for civil organizations to also have their say heard within the chambers of Parliament. So let's make a caucus, a women's caucus in Parliament, bipartisan, tripartisan, quadripartisan in Parliament for 2012 and onwards. To come back to the UN speech, it is not just women paying the price for discrimination. We all suffer for failing to make the most of half the world's talent and potential. We undermine the quality of our democracy the world over, the strength of our economies the world over, the health of our societies, and the sustainability of peace. This year's focus of International Women's Day on women's equal access to education, training, science and technology, and to stamp out violence underscores the need to tap into the great potential of women and girls. The agenda to secure gender equality and women's rights is a global agenda, a challenge for every country, rich and poor, north and south. It was in recognition of both its universality and the rewards, if we get this right, that the United Nations brought together 4 existing organizations to create UN Women. The goal of this new body, which Michelle Bachelet, has the honor to lead, is to galvanize the entire United Nations system of the world of nations so that we can deliver on the promise of the United Nations Charter of equal rights of men and women. And then she goes on, she was herself a pediatrician and a mother, and she goes on to specifically speak about the role of mothers in the world. And I think it is okay if I say that I know that one of the women's organizations, Red Thread, I think probably in collaboration with the Mothers Union and others, are planning to celebrate mothers, not just on Mother's Day, but in the month of March, celebrating women and women's rights, to have a march, a Mother's March. I think it is planned for sometime later this month, in the month of March. So in March, ladies and gentlemen, let's march for mothers, and let's march for equality and women's rights as human rights. Thank you very much.
Colleague commissioners, representative organizations, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to extend International Women's Day greetings to all women here gathered as we celebrate 100 years of activism. It's a pleasure to participate in this activity, and I'm glad that we have so many any men around, because this is not a women's commission, it is a women and gender equality commission. So we're not only looking at women, but we're looking at men as well. As I look in the audience, I'm glad to see so many old faces, and I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about people who have been involved in women's work for so many years. And I'm particularly glad to have in our presence, I'm not going to call her name, she will know who she is. And some of you who've been around will know. The last official president of the once vibrant umbrella non-governmental organization for women, an organization called the Conference in the Affairs and Status of Women in Guyana. You want to know the name, huh? Sheila Chapman, please stand up together. Please stand up together. Those were the days when all women's organizations were talking about church, political, trade union, social, whatever, all came together under one umbrella organization. I'm glad she is here with us. The Women and Gender Equality Commission is one of the rights commissions enshrined in the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana for the promotion and enhancement of the fundamental rights and the rule of law. Article 212J2 notes, and I quote, "A commission shall be independent, impartial, and shall discharge its functions fairly." And I particularly note this quote because during the break somebody called my attention to something that was said a little earlier. And she spoke about impartiality. And so that I will read it again. A commission, and we're talking about all the rights commissions, including the Women and Gender Equality Commission, shall be independent, impartial, and shall discharge its functions fairly. According to the Constitution of Guyana, a commission other than the Human Rights Commission shall have general functions. And when we talk about other than the Human Rights Commissions, some of you might be thinking, we have the Ethnic Relations Commission, we have the Women and Gender Equality Commission, we have the Indigenous Peoples Commission. I don't think they've started their work quite yet. And we have the Rights of the Child Commission. And the heads of all those commissions will come together with some other persons appointed to form the Human Rights Commission. So the Human Rights Commission is going to be the sort of umbrella organization for all the rights commissions. Get that clear? Good. As I was saying, a commission other than the Human Rights Commission has general functions, and I'm going to just mention a few of them. To monitor and review all existing and proposed legislation, policies, and measures for compliance with the objects and matter under its purview, and report the need for any amendments to any legislation to the National Assembly. So if by chance we know that there is some one of the laws that we have written so long ago, every now and then we are coming up with amending them. We have some lawyers in our midst who have been participating in some of the committees to help us do that. As a Women and Gender Commission, or as any one of those commissions, we have the right to involve people, lawyers, whoever, so that we can change some of the laws to make it applicable, so that and then take to the National Assembly and then they do their blessings and so on. Another general function is to educate the public regarding the nature and content of matters under its purview.
And that is one of the things we're doing today. At this first public session, we are giving you an idea of what the Women and Gender Equality Commission is all about, so that you will have an idea who we are and what we are supposed to do. Another general function is to carry out, or cause to be carried out, research and studies concerning the observance of matters under its purview, and report the findings and recommendations thereon to the National Assembly. You recall a little earlier when Ms. Corning spoke, Vanda indicated that research is one of our mandates. And as such, from time to time, with your help, we should be able to do research and present the findings to the National Assembly. And might I say, on a yearly basis, this commission will have to present its report to the Speaker of the House, and then eventually it will be circulated to the members of Parliament who will have their say on what we do. Another general function is to investigate complaints or initiate investigations into violations of the rights under its purview. There are times when people would not want to make a complaint, but we can cause a complaint to come to us. It is like they say, you know your neighbors are having an abusive relationship, and the woman is being beaten every day. She's afraid to go to the police, but as a good neighbor, you can make the report. Come save her before she's killed. We know how the police operate otherwise. But the reality is, she hasn't reported, but we can report. So, as long as we go out on the daily lives and so forth, and there are things happening, we can initiate investigation, and so cause things to stop before we get out of hand. Another general function is to liaise with government and non-governmental organizations and other relevant bodies to address complaints and concerns of persons regarding matters under our purview. And the last thing I look at is the Commission will require a person or an entity, including a ministry or a government department, to provide us with information for the purpose of investigation, any investigation is carried out or proposes to carry out, on measures that have been or are being taken to implement the decision of or compliance with the provision related to the Commission. So we have the mandate as well to call on the Permanent Secretary or the Minister of Ministries to give us information, especially if we get complaints. I recall some time back when I served at the Ethnic Relations Commission. We had one of our managers, we went to ministries to find out certain matters, we got complaints of discrimination and so forth, and who was being employed and who wasn't being employed. Some people didn't take time into it, but at least we got some information. So the mandate is there. It is for us to go and speak nicely with the persons concerned, and we will be able to solve any of their problems or help them, give them guidance, or they can say to us what problems they are having. Now, I just touched briefly on some of the general functions, but I would like you to turn to, in your folders, there is a particular leaflet that Vanda spoke of a little earlier, and that one talks about the functions of the specific functions of the Women's and Gender Equality Commission. Article 212R specifies 14 specific functions of the Women and Gender Equality Commission. And these 14 functions are the ones that we want to ask your organization to sign on to indicate that you will support us in the Women and Gender Equality Commission as we go about trying to fulfill these. I will not go through all 14 of them because
You have them there, or you want me to read them? Okay. Sometimes I don't have enough time before the declarations. I think I go through them quickly. The first one, A, says promote the issues related to the enhancement of the status of women and girls and gender issues. B, promote the integration of women's needs and interests in mainstreaming of gender issues. C, promote the empowerment of women. D, promote women's rights as human rights. E, raise the awareness of the contribution of women and problems faced by women, including the recognition and value of wage work. F, promote women's needs, interests, and concerns in the widest spectrum of economic and social development, and address both the practical and strategic needs of women as being different from those of men. G, educate and monitor employees and the public on desirable employment practices in relation to women and men. H, monitor compliance and make recommendations for the compliance with international instruments to which the government accedes from time to time, including those already acceded to and which relate to the purpose of the Commission. I, evaluate any system of personal and family law, customs and practices of any law likely to affect gender equality or the status of women, and make recommendations to the National Assembly with regard thereto. J, recommend and promote the implementation of legislation and the formulation of policies and measures so as to enhance and protect the status of women. K, promote, initiate, or cause to be carried out research and the creation of databases on women and gender-related issues, including those in health, especially reproductive health, violence against women and family, and their socio-economic and political status, as the Commission may deem relevant or as may be referred to it by the National Assembly. L, promote consultation and cooperation with women's organizations in relation to decision-making that affects the lives of women. M, recommend training and technical assistance to support initiatives by and for women and girls. And last but not least, promote the participation of women in national decision-making. These are the 14 specific functions of the Women and Gender Commission, and as indicated, we will ask your organizations to just acknowledge, yes, we will support these women and the men as they go about their business. This meeting is the first one, and so this is one of the related exactly to E, where we are raising awareness. And when you look at G, we talk about educate and monitor employees and public and desirable employment practices. We have a lot of complaints coming in, where on some of the stores on Regent Street and in some of the other places, where the employment practices of the employers are not very nice. And in terms of salary, the employees are underpaid and so forth in some restaurants and the like. These are some of the things we'd like to look at, because we're talking about equal pay for equal work. And you know, you must be properly paid, do not underpay anybody. And when it comes to the different conventions that the government would have acceded to and signed on to, we are saying if you sign on to it, you must uphold what you signed to. And so these are some of the things that we have to look at as a commission. Even as these functions are specified by the Constitution, the Women and Gender Commission and Equality Commission is duty bound to work in collaboration with its constituencies. And when I talk about constituencies, all of our commissioners identify themselves, introduce themselves, and we come from different strands of society. Some of us are housewives doing political work. We work in women's affairs committees in the regions. We work in trade union, we do private work. We are entrepreneurs and so forth. We come from different backgrounds. And as such, we have to work with you. So for us, it's not only working with the wider society, but we have to work with the labor movement when it comes to labor practices. Or we have to work with the private sector, or the professional women, if the nurses are having problems, because the person who sits on our commission as a professional person, has a nursing background. These are the people we have to work with. So from time to time, we call in our constituencies to find out what is happening. Because you too can tell us and guide us on how we do our program. As a result, I say we are duty bound to interact with the groups which we represent in order that we can champion their cause. As a commission, we have taken the decision to acquaint ourselves with the documents which are in the public domain that relate to women's issues, such as the CEDAW Convention, the Beijing Platform for Action, and the Paris Convention. All as room for capacity building. Because I said some of us have come from different backgrounds. I have a history of working in political women's organization. Jillian has come through the trade union fighting. Nicole is a cultural person. But at the same time, we all need to have our minds widened in terms of what documents are there to support us. So as a labor movement, we can refer to something in the CEDAW Convention, or we can refer to something in the Beijing Plan of Action. So for the next few months, as part of our work program, public awareness will be the top priority as we promote the work of the Commission and get to know our constituents more and get more involved. I think I leave you there, you've got an idea of what our functions are and what we should be doing. And when it's question time, we'll be able to answer clear up any of your concerns. Thank you very much.
Activities of the Women and Gender Equality Commission program as we are working on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Danga. The intention is not to give you all the details, but to provide you with an insight, and hence the occasions I will give a little more explanation than others. So pardon me in adopting this kind of methodology in my presentation. Now, firstly, I need to say that we are required by law, or we're mandated by the Constitution to ensure that on a yearly basis we provide an annual report to the National Assembly. It means that everything you will do must be documented and prepared to present to the National Assembly, because we are accountable in that regard. So what is it we have sought to do, or where we are at this point in time? You may recall that on the 28th of August in 2009, our commissioners were sworn in by the President, and on the 21st of April, that is 2010, a meeting was convened by the clerk of the National Assembly to select the chairperson and deputy chairperson. That having been done, we decided in the month of May to convene the first meeting. But of course, we were all new to each other, not necessarily new, but now we are all working together for a common cause. So it was necessary to build trust, to build a relationship, to work towards a cohesion, to work towards respecting each other, and that we said we will take time to do. So in our early meetings, starting from May, we worked towards building this relationship of trust. And so that all of us were focusing, or we were working towards the same objective. And that is, the mandate has been explained to you by our Deputy Chair, outlined by our Constitution. You know, when you start out a new office, it's never easy. So we've had a lot of difficulties, I must say, not because we were incapable of dealing with these issues, but because we had to have a place to function, because we had to set up an office, and because we had to hire people. Sister commissioners from Commission on the Rights of the Child will be very knowledgeable, and commissioners also who are from the rights of the child, you know what I'm talking about. So we have some common issues there, and we're trying to grapple with it. I do believe that we have moved at least 2-3 steps forward. That we have identified the office, we have now employed our CEO and assistant, and we are beginning to have some things in our office, our equipment and so on. And it's taking a little time, but we're hoping that it will accelerate now that monies have been voted in the National Assembly to make the process much easier. When we convened our first meeting, within the first week, we were invited by 3 entities to make presentations, and I want to share this with you because you know your first is very important. And hence, for example, we were invited by the UNDP, and myself, in my capacity as chair, was invited to make a presentation on gender mainstreaming at the United Nations among the staff members, because it was a concept they were introducing to staff members. And also, the Ministry of Finance did the same thing. We were also invited to send representatives to the situation assessment and analysis of women and children. And also 2 commissioners were nominated to serve in the Ghana coordinating mechanism. And in the first month of May, Bishop Edgehill was named ERC rep on the Women and Gender Equality Commission. Commissioner Sampson, she indicated to you the process, so I will not go through that. So we still have other commissioners from other commissions who are supposed to be sitting in the commission as ex officio. So we're waiting the names of those. And since it was our first meeting and looking at our mandate and hearing from Cheryl there, you can see, because each mandate, were you to look at it in a very discerning way, you will discover that each one of them you can possibly think about 10 or 15 or 20 things that you can possibly do in each one of them. When we talk about promoting all these issues, it means when you're talking about promoting, then you have to think about PR. You have to think about programs in which you will educate, you will make aware, and a whole lot of other issues. But we are now in the process. And I do believe that for the life of this commission, as long as the commission, we will have to seek to evolve new ideas so that at one period of time you will be promoting some issues, and then later on you will have to do other things. Like take the domestic violence legislation. There was a time we didn't have it. And then the women lawyers decided that they would translate it into simple language. And so all of NGOs had a responsibility to distribute to all of the country. And all of that was done. And then we realized that we can't only speak to the women in violence, that we need to speak to men as well. And then we discovered having spoken to the men, there's so much other things that you are required to do. So each action you take, you can very well have 25 concrete things that you are required to do. And as we sat at the first meeting of the commission and trying to evaluate what are the things we will consider priority, and we have made the following decisions. We said that at all statutory meetings, which will be held on a monthly basis, we will ensure, and Cheryl has referred to that as well, the whole question of looking at how we want to educate all our commissioners on a wide range of issues. So we found the information that was required and we provided them so that the internal institutional capacity building of the commissioners can continue constantly, because we felt that all our commissioners must be able, whenever the circumstances present themselves, they must be able to respond to issues by any members of the public, and hence they need to constantly educate themselves. So in every meeting, we would have been looking at the business of the day, in addition to having people from outside coming to us and talking to us on any issue. Bellenville Power Innovation Platform, UNFPA, CEDA, the Millennium Development Goal, whatever it is, the UN Convention on Women, all of these things are part and parcel, are they mainstream in the way in which we organize our statutory meetings. All commissioners must go back every time with new knowledge, and that is what we seek to do. So far, we've had 10 statutory meetings, and we were able in October and November to employ our CEO, as I said that before. And then we started looking at some of the issues to showcase our commission. And we, in this discourse, decided that we will set up a media watch committee headed by Commissioner Peter Casal and others. And they were given an assignment to look at the media and to look at all the negatives relating to women and present a report to the Commission. We had that report. Unfortunately, we were not able to air the programs as yet, and we're hoping to have that done in this period ahead. Also, we took the opportunity to speak with the press about the Commission because a lot of people did not know about it, and we thought it was useful to let the public become aware of the Commission and who the Commissioners were. We also, in this period, nominated Commissioner Peter Casal and Nicole Cole. They were nominated to the ERC and the Rights of the Child Commission, respectively. Also, we recognize that talking to the stakeholders locally here is not enough. And since we need to collaborate with all agencies that are working in Guyana internationally, embassies, and so on, we started on a series of meetings. So far, we have met with four agencies, the USAID, who is partnering with us at this point in time, UNICEF, CEDA, and the British High Commission. We were very successful through USAID to have the support of this conference, and the British High Commission, we were successful in having 2 computers for our office. And I should say that so far USAID has been a consistent partner because they have been with the Commission since July, and up to this point in time they're with us in our activities, and we want to thank them for that. And I want to single out Kevin McLaughlin, who has worked very closely with us, and I think it's really great working with him because he's a perfectionist, if I may say so. And I can say for myself, I think we're in the same wavelength. I believe in everything done to the best. I don't settle for mediocrity. So we have some things in common in that regard. With respect to the USAID, we have made a number of recommendations. And these are the charity of the commissioners and members of our stakeholders. One, developing the capacity of the commissioner. And this means if we can have experts from outside coming to talk to us, to work with us, is something that we will pursue. Render assistance to the Regional Women's Affairs Committee. And our commissioner from the Women's Affairs Bureau has been explaining to us the difficulties they have in doing their work in the region. And we are also looking for partners to help them to make their work even more easily. There's another program, they support the leadership training for women I'm sure some of you remember in 2004 the leadership training program carried out by the National Democratic Institute in preparing for elections. And we are now working to see whether we can have a similar type program for those women who are hoping to enter into political offices in the first instance, and later on we will be doing programs for women in the trade union movement as well as in the private sector. Because we believe that we need to keep training our women so that they can rise to the top. And we want to provide them the tools so they can, when they go into whatever positions they will be able to do so in the best way possible. And also we're seeking support for the Women's Leadership Institute. And I think the Leadership Institute has a champion. The champion is going there, Margaret Pollard, as well as Commissioner Gillian Gordon, who herself has been beneficiary from that institute. And when she spoke about what the institute has done for us, for her, we were all moved by the passion and the strength of who she has become. And sometimes we do not understand that all women are not lucky to be able to go to a secondary or a primary school for that matter. And that there are poor women out there who never had the opportunity to walk up the stairs of any school, but who have a burning desire and who have the ambition to be somebody. And that institute was there to make those invisible women into somebody. And we will work to ensure that it doesn't fall. Also, we took a decision that we will be partnering. I'm talking about a partnership with USA. We will be having a conference. It was supposed to be a 2-day conference with much more, I would say much more deeper political issues, and not political, but deeper issues affecting society and women. Unfortunately, we felt it was not the right timing, and because of International Women's Day and all of that, we decided to have this event instead. But as a matter of principle, we're hoping that on a yearly basis, the Commission will have 2 public events, one in which we will always seek to work with our partners, you, so that we can hear from you and we can tell you about what we're doing, and giving us the guidance that is necessary. And then we will have at a higher level, working with the University of Nine and other universities around, much more in-depth discourses at a higher level. And we want to have that on a 2-day conference so that we can get the best out of participants coming from whether locally or overseas. That is something that we also would like to do. We also have taken some decisions, but because we do not have the resources at this given time, and we're hoping to have that, we need to have a web page. If we're talking about being modern and technologically sound and reaching out and promoting, then definitely we need a web page, and it is something now we're looking to get that in place. We also need a brochure so that when people come to our office, there is something that we can give to them. We don't have all of these. We've talked about research, and we believe that research is critical. As a matter of fact, in 2000, a decision was taken to record all the women parliamentarians so that young students at the university and in schools who are looking for information on women who have been in the National Assembly can have access to these. It has taken maybe 10 years, and we're still awaiting the outcome of that. But we're hoping that the Women and Gender Equality Commission will probably take the responsibility to ensure that it becomes something this year, and that is something we're working towards. We also identified a committee who will be being responsible to work in the celebration of the Year of African People. And today, when we decided to award MACA, it was as a result of the recommendation made by that committee that since this is International Women's Day, and since it's a year of people of African origin, it would be ideally suitable to have MACA being honored in the way. And so that was one of the activities and there are much more to come. And the committee, as soon as this event is over, we will be meeting to decide on some of those events. We've also made representation to the Ministry of Finance with respect to the reduction of VAT, as well as the reduction of the income tax threshold. We also made representation to the Ministry of Public Works with respect to the gangways and the Ferris-Stellan, because we think they're not women-friendly, and so we're hoping that something can come out of that. We also made representation to the Ministry of Education and invited a representative of the Education Ministry to speak about some of the social problems, because our commissioners were talking about some of their concerns as it relates to some social problems in the school. The emergence of too much school pageants and beauty pageants and so on and so forth. And we believe it is something that we should not condone as a country. And we invited the ministry, we expressed our concern to them, and they also provided some insights into the HFLE, that's the Health Family Life Education Program. Also, as I said, we will continue on a daily basis. We sought to get Justice Roxanne George to speak to us about the UN Convention, but unfortunately she's not in this Demerara jurisdiction at this point in time. And sometime in April we will be having her to speak to us. Now, how did we prepare our work program? We have a work program that we prepared last year. We decided to look at the mandate of the Commission, or the functions of the Commission as explained by Commissioner Sampson, and then we looked at the 5-year action plan for women. Now, the 5-year action plan for women came out of a consultative process in the late 90s, where women across the country were invited to tell us what it is they would like to see happen in the 5-year action plan for women. And having perused the program, we realized that a lot of things have not been done. So we took that as a blueprint or a basis for us to begin our work, because no use going to invent the wheel when there is already a process that started, was interactive, was consultative, and nothing has happened. So we're working on that. So we took the mandate as well as the 5-year action plan, and we're hoping today, as a result of the discussions that will come and your recommendations, we will try to incorporate those into our program. So we have a framework, but in that framework we can expand to include ideas, new initiatives that may emerge out of the consultation today. Also, I reported that we will be reaching out to you, the stakeholders, and also we will seek to collaborate with the international organizations that are present to help us in some of the things we seek to do. I just want to deal with a few specifics, not much, because I've already taken up a lot of the chair time. I want to say that in the month of in the month of March, we will be meeting with political parties to talk about the functions of the Commission and seek to gather support in terms of the mandate, as well as ensuring that 1/3 women, as stipulated in the Commission, in the Constitution, that it must not only be on the party list, but we want to see women, at least 1/3, that's what we're saying, for the new elections. 1/3 women in all the regions, 1/3 women in Parliament, 1/3 women in Cabinet. And this is the initial discourse that we'll be having with them, seeking their support and cooperation. Also, we will be meeting with trade unions in the month of May, and we've discussed at the level of the Commission sexual harassment in the place of work. And we know while it is being looked at by the Ministry of Labour, we have had reports that people are saying that they are sometimes afraid to report to the official entities that are there, and we will be collaborating with the trade unions to see what kind of modality we can adopt, and this will be done in consultation with the Ministry of Labour as well. And we also are looking at the month of June and July to be meeting with women, young women, as well as NGOs. also made representation to the Ministry of Finance with respect to the reduction of VAT, as well as the reduction of the income tax threshold. We also made representation to the Ministry of Public Works with respect to the gangways that Claire is telling, because we think they are not women friendly. And so we're hoping that something can come out of that. We also made representation to the Ministry of Education and invited a representative of the Education Ministry to speak about some of the social problems, because our commissioners were talking about some of their concerns as it relates to some social problems in the school. The emergence of too much school pageants and beauty pageants and so on and so forth. And we believe it is something that we should not condone as a country. And we invited the ministry, we expressed our concern to them, and they also provided some insights into the HFLE, that's the Health Family Life Education Program. Also, as I said, we will continue on a daily basis. We sought to get Justice Roxanne George to speak to us about the UN Convention, but unfortunately she's not in this Demerara jurisdiction at this point in time. And sometime in April we will be having her to speak to us. Now, how did we prepare our work program? We have a work program that we prepared last year. We decided to look at the mandate of the Commission, or the functions of the Commission, as explained by Commissioner Sampson. And then we looked at the 5-year action plan for women. Now, the 5-year action plan for women came out of a consultative process in the late 90s, where women across the country were invited to tell us what it is they would like to see happen in the 5-year action plan for women. And having perused the program, we realized that a lot of things have not been done. So we took that as a blueprint or a basis for us to begin our work, because no use going to invent the wheel when there is already a process that started, was interactive, was consultative, and nothing has happened. So we're working on that. So we took the mandate as well as the 5-year action plan, and we're hoping today, as a result of the discussions that will come and your recommendations, we will try to incorporate those into our program. So we have a framework, but in that framework we can expand to include ideas, new initiatives that may emerge out of the consultation today. Also, I reported that we will be reaching out to you, the stakeholders, and also we will seek to collaborate with the international organizations that are present to help us in some of the things we're seeking to do. I just want to deal with a few specifics, not much, because I've already taken up a lot of the chair time. I want to say that in the month of March, we will be meeting with political parties to talk about the functions of the Commission and seek to get their support in terms of the mandate, as well as ensuring that 1/3 women, as stipulated in the Commission, in the Constitution, that it must not only be on the party list, but we want to see women, at least 1/3, that's what we're saying, for the new elections. 1/3 women in all the regions, 1/3 women in Parliament, 1/3 women in Cabinet. And this is the initial discourse that we'll be having with them, seeking their support and cooperation. Also, we will be meeting with trade unions in the month of May, and we've discussed at the level of the Commission sexual harassment in the place of work. And we know while it is being looked at by the Ministry of Labour, we have had reports that people are saying that they are sometimes afraid to report to the official entities that are there, and we will be collaborating with the trade unions to see what kind of modality we can adopt, and this will be done in consultation with the Ministry of Labour as well. And we also are looking at the month of June and July to be meeting with women, young women, as well as NGOs, on organized one-to-one basis in terms of your respective organizations. And the month of August will be dedicated to the people of African origin, and I've said we have a number of programs planned. And we're hoping to find a suitable date, suitable time sometime this year to have the big conference that we talked about. And we're in the process of looking for more partners, because if we can have more partners with us, it means the finances will be available to do the work that we are required to do. This is, in a nutshell, the main concepts, the main ideas as to how we will, or the modalities that we have adopted to proceed with the work of the Commission. I thank you.